are tuned into the leading internet radio station in the mother city.
Yes, our station,
our talent, our people.
My fellow South Africans, join us as we uncover the Waarheid with Stan Jacobs and Kween. Let's talk about South African politics with various political figures this election season. Stay informed with the Waarheid, Mondays from 5:30 to 7 p.m. A joint venture proudly brought to you by Cape Flat Stories and Radio East River with a combined reach of over 40 million. To advertise on this show, contact us at admin@radioeastriver.co.za. Onze stasie, onze talent en onze mense. Soek die waarheid.
Radio East River, onze stasie, onze talent, onze mense. WhatsApp ons by 064 536 9095. Talk to us, die ding ruk hier.
Yes, our station,
Our station, our talent, our people.
Chair,
Yes, sir. Your point of order.
I'd like to ask Honorable Stenizer whether you can take a question.
Honorable Stenizer, would you take a question?
I only take questions from people who haven't been named the Mampara of the Month by the Sunday.
He doesn't take.
And what are we going to have up here next, preparing to come to the podium? The Minister of Home Affairs. He spent the election with his face in his armpit like this, teaching voters dabbing, while the opposition taught you a drubbing, didn't they?
Mashile. No, Honorable Mashile. There's nothing honorable about it. There's nothing honorable about Mashile. You can't be forcing us to call people honorable here.
Ek wil doekies omgedraai het, maar net die nou lissie. Almal gaan saamstem, so ek kan nie die fout isie. Maar ek weet nie wie die burgemeester nou isie. Ek weet nie eens of het 'n man of het 'n vrou isie. Almal lag as hulle dit hoor in die strate in. Hulle sit al die probleme op 'n waglys en sit hy waglys op 'n ander waglys. Maak speeches oor wat hulle met die plek gaan doen. Ons wys die crime rate, dan is hulle bekke toe. Kyk, jy bring al die toeriste na die ghetto toe. Dan kyk jylle of hulle weer die plek besoek. Wie is daar woord, sy deur die kops geskut. Non-smok op wat daar voor drugs in jou top gevind. En sy vind het moeilik om in jou kop te dink. Die school het onnodige goed binne in jou kop geprint. Is op sy nul, but life is een obstacle. Even by die kerk sien ek die opposite van Godse wil. Kallets kan nie wegkry nie as ons te wild. Of jy te wit of swart genoeg gee om die post te val. Wek is kaas soos een wit man wat straat of jy hoor net hoe corruption moet eindig en nie hoe staat het die. Verbaas my nie, gewone plaase hier is nie so groot soos begrafplaase nie.
You say some of know English properly. And then we can only come and say
Honorable Matisa.
like that.
Honorable Matisa.
Yes.
Honorable Matisa. Honorable Matisa.
That's the only thing that she knows.
Honorable Matisa.
The NPRDA. But I want to say, I do agree with you, Honourable Elephant. We do find common cause with you. You're absolutely right. The ANC has produced a lot of nuts. A lot of nuts.
Grond of bodem. As sy my hart vir dit, dan moet sy aanhou luister. Daar's 'n verskil tussen die waarheid en 'n racist. Ek speak my mind, baie mense kyk verby dat ek wil nie dood gaan met die information in my kus. Maar ek sal loekie sien, want ek bedoel nie ietsie, hulle visie is 'n bietjie te tricky. Hulle sê saam staan is die missie, want hulle is aan heeltyd in kompetisie met die oppositie. 'n brandweerman by minority 10 lewens, 'n sportman by millions sal het 'n besering. Meer ongelykheid, meer political parties, meer geld word gesteel, meer political parties. Hulle het gehuil vir democracy, but nou wat het hier is doen hulle. Hulle praat heeltyd van peace en nie totse nie, but geen nie is vir ons 'n peace van hulle fotse nie. Net sy is free up, die raak al weet te oud. Nou wat is die van 'n permit wat sy maar gee vir hout? Hulle sê ons moet trots wees op die groen en goud, want die groen is illegal en hulle steel die goud. Hulle is die rede vir al die schemes. Daar gebeur meer as net dit wat ons sien op die screens. Polisie is bang om te intervene. Hulle soos die credits van 'n movie, altyd laaste op die scene. Ek sit die TV af as hulle met die stront kom. Ek byt vir loadsetting as die goede opkom. Nie Amelie wat som as lekker dom. Hy sê altyd hong en niemand stop hom. Ek sit die TV af as hulle met die stront kom. Ek byt vir loadsetting as die goede opkom. Nie Amelie wat som as lekker dom. Invest in nuclear weapons, wie wil ons opkom? Ek sit die TV af as hulle met die stront kom. Ek byt vir loadsetting as die goede opkom. Nie Amelie wat som as lekker dom. Die woorde van 'n gewone klomp verstom hom. Ek sit die TV af as hulle met die stront kom. Ek byt vir loadsetting as die goede opkom. Nie Amelie wat som as lekker dom. Die mense gaan dood met hulle adverteer 'n kondom.
Minister of Health was able a few months ago to launch a new condom.
Radio is the river, radio is the river, radio is the river. Radio is the river, radio is the rivier, radio is the rivier. Onze stasie, onze talent in onze mensen.
My fellow South Africans, join us as we uncover the Waarheid with Stan Jacobs and Kween. Let's talk about South African politics with various political figures this election season. Stay informed with the Waarheid, Mondays from 5:30 to 7 p.m. A joint venture proudly brought to you by Cape Flat Stories and Radio East River with a combined reach of over 40 million. To advertise on this show, contact us at admin@radioeastriver.co.za. Onze stasie, onze talent en onze mense. Soek die waarheid. Once again, it is that time of the week for the Waarheid. Welcome back, people. Stan and Kween is back at it once again.
Alweer?
Vital.
Dit is kijk Kween.
Thank you. Are we live on TikTok?
Ik heb een paar followers, so 20 followers is op TikTok.
Yay. Is this our first time live with your personal TikTok?
Yeah, first time live.
Nice. I'm honored to be a part of it, man. Thank you so much. How are we feeling today?
I'm good. I think we are almost 23 days away from the national election. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what is bothering people. Who do we vote for? Still on the last minute. It's like that night, almost no Christmas. Then you didn't get all the stuff. Then you still worry like, it's 12 o'clock. What ga ik nog, So I think people have that expectation and that openness. Who do we vote for? Because we've been lied to.
Yes.
We've been deceived over the years. We've been made promises. Just like somebody said here now, they just want our votes. And I think it's important for us to explore other options.
Yes.
Because the current options for 30 years didn't work for us. So now we need to look at the other vehicle to take us to our liberation that we were supposed to get 30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years of democracy and 30 years of freedom. But how do we feel about it after 30 years? Do we feel free? Question for the day. Shout out goes to Monica Marman on Facebook Live with Radio East River, liking the live there, as well as Mr. Josh Kinnear sharing the live as well, saying their evening Stan and Kween. Then we also have DJ Boots is tuned in with TikTok with Radio East River live here. Thank you so much for everybody that is tuned in. And if you are tuned in and you don't know, well, now you know that all live shows are available for re-listening at any time. So you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer, and there you can listen to all your favorite shows again. Last week, why did I almost feel like I almost forgot who was here last week?
But you know what? I actually looked at some of his interviews later in the week. Mm-hmm. That man was on fire. Eh? He called the premier your rubbish.
Yeah?
Your Zionist rubbish. I think last week that man really point out the wrong in our communities, in our government. Faisal spoke about a lot of things, but after you've left here and you went onto live to a live debate with IOL, he spoke about a lot of things that actually made sense. How we've been deserted,
Yeah. Also, we actually had some powerful people
Yeah.
in the studio already. But today, however, something new. We spoke about it, and one of my colleagues said, the pink party. Today in the studio, we've got the one and only Dr. Jerome Swartz.
Yeah.
Hey.
Dr. Jerome Swartz is very well known to the community. He's not a stranger. He's been around for a long time. He used to drive a Polo, vrouw van die Polo. But Dr. Jerome Swartz is also a pastor. He has a church,
Nice.
or a few churches that is under him, and then also he's a businessman as well. I think the fact that he's a businessman and he's got companies also tells us that there's possibilities of job creation because he's been in the industry, so he knows how to create jobs. But we can all ask him that questions, and he can share with us. It's very important for you as the audience to also be part of this conversation, to ask questions.
You know what? I just want to give a young disclaimer before we go any further. Kween is feeling a bit fluish. I don't know, it's that time. So if you see me the whole time here with tissues, I do apologize. I do apologize. It's just that time of the year. Speaking of feeling a bit under, so last week on the show, I just gave a young update on the fact that the Kween went for the op. The op was successful. Raised a lot of questions about public health care and how we really feel about it. I spoke to Stan early on, and then I told him, like, yeah, it's a public hospital, but you still have to pay for everything. You're still paying for everything, which leads me to ask, where do our taxes go to? It's these type of thoughts, like you pay tax on your groceries, you pay tax on the petrol, tax on everything. So what are we paying for if you still have to pay for everything anyway?
I think medical and education should be two things that are free. Because our young people in our society can't really, or the mothers can't afford education.
Yes.
Our grandparents has been working for many years to make money for this country, to be part of the GDP. And they have to make use of hospitals that are not up to standard. And I think for that reason, that is, whoever comes into power, it has been a problem for the last 30 years. And that's why if you're going to vote the same pattern, you can experience that in the next 5 years. That's why it's important for you to vote for a party that can look at these matters. I mean, also ou mense sit vir ure in 'n lyn vir SASSA, vir ure vir die hospitaal. Sometimes they can't help them. Just think about it. You're in pain, but now you have to wait for a doctor to help you. And then there's still people that are saying, there's still people that are saying, you know what, you are still lucky to have a hospital. But there's something that before we go over free education to primary and secondary schooling, I agree. And we must also improve our schooling system.
Yes.
We still have 50 to 60 children in a class.
50 to 60 children in a class with a pass rate
Of
of 30%. Yeah, guys, these are the realities that we are living in.
Yes.
Just some food for thought.
Yes. Look, we can only bring these things to your attention, but it's up to you. You as the voter to make a decision. Who are you going to give your vote to? Who are you going to trust this time around? You've been trusting people for the last 30 years. Did it do anything? Did it improve your lifestyle? Or are you ready to make a new change now? But let's go over to our guest and then we have a lekker chat.
Definitely looking forward to a good chat. So right now it is 48 minutes after the hours of 5 p.m. on a good day to have a great day. Stay tuned with us. This is Radio Easter voor onze stasie, onze talent en nog heel tijd onze mensen.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Submissions are now open for all types of South African music to be playlisted on Radio Easter.
The likes of
gospel,
trap en hip-hop.
Dan wat gaat zij maken? Protest met boms in die straat? Hoeveel zal dood aan die kaap? Mijn enigste vraag is: wat zij bereikt? Ons het niet genoeg hier als zij het die voelen. Wat zij bereikt?
Dancehall en reggae tunes.
Vai partij, aan die Solomon Square, ons in die was. Vai partij, en I, ik ben het paso.
R&B and soul.
I still smell you
just music.
We don't mind the language.
We don't mind the
genre.
So send us an email now to info@radioeastriver.co.za.
Title your email.
Playlist me.
Yesterday.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
Wat kan ik zien? Ik verbaas zijn money. Alles raak ik weet die van toen mijn nazi gaan niet. Praten wat steef voor een noemen dag. Geen life brigade, die oos is goed en afbreken. Doe het maar, we staan niet samen. Jere ja op mijn nazi. 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 Samen gespeeld toen hulle klein was. Nou wordt er gevoeld om zij praten zit in een leekswaar. Zeg maar, wat zeg maar. Maar hij is geblindeerd, die noem me zo. En nou zal hij moet uitstaan. Patty kijk je neer, ik is niet in mijn gevoelens. En ons land wordt regeerd, die comedians wat in stoelen zit. Laatste daar wat aankomt, blijven je gaan mijn bijbel. Krijg je gelijke kans, omdat ik breiner als hij is. Klom slangen niet om te. Community is winnen mis. Ons rappers voor mensen die is daar. Zo voor het vissen is, wanneer komen ze in opstand. Ons kan niet buiten loopie, jengsters beperkt ons vrijheid. Nou lieve oos uw slaven, toegekapt in cages. Vader zet jouw hand boven mij. Ik raak bang als ik denk aan die wat gegaan het voor tijd. Daar was het jouw plan of daar niet hulle mistake. Of daar was het de lijn van verkeerde plek, verkeerde tijd. Ey. Wat kan ik zien? Het verbaasde me niet. Alles raak ik weet die van toen mijn nazi gaan niet. Praten wat steef voor een noemen dag. Geen life brigade, die oos is goed en afbreken. Doe het maar, we staan niet samen. Jere ja op mijn nazi. 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 Altijd de racisme lachen vat dat ik het zelf ervaren. You know kan ik het tegen, hij ze kak ervaren. Van in een moment in te voelen, ik is minder waardig. Zelfs trouwens een theorie wat die kak gestart het. Hey, zijn moest toen zij nog klein was, zo kon ieren voor die TV zit. Maar dinsdag gaat die lieven niet op bieren drank. Hij kennis mooi, maar haar manieren stank. Ik was een rooi, van die king is terug. Yeah, mijn hart bloeit voor Zuid-Afrika. Je missen wat kan hebben als ons niet bij elkaar moet staan. Wat in steed doen is alles rond. Als Mandela die moet zien, ik zweer, hij draait in zijn graf en als we samen staan, kan we samen staan. Is die niet eraf op iets te versieren nabij? Wat kan ik zien? Wat kan ik zien? Wat kan ik zien? Wat kan ik zien? Het verbaasde me niet. Alles raak ik weet die van toen mijn nazi gaan niet. Praten wat steef voor een noemen dag. Geen life gaat, die oos is goed en afbreken. Doe het maar, we staan niet samen. Jere ja op mijn nazi. 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 Wat kan ik zien? Het verbaasde me niet. Alles raak ik weet die van toen mijn nazi gaan niet. Praten wat steef voor een noemen dag. Geen life brigade, die oos is goed en afbreken. Doe het maar, we staan niet samen.
Radio Yesterday, Radio Yesterday, Radio Yesterday, Radio Yesterday, Radio Yesterday, Radio Yesterday. Onze statie, onze talent in onze mensen.
Tune in to the leading internet radio station in the mother city, Radio Yesterday. For more information, log on to our website, which is www.radioyesterriver.co.za.
My fellow South Africans, join us as we uncover the Waarheid with Stan Jacobs and Khoi. Let's talk about South African politics with various political figures this election season. Stay informed with Die Waarheid, Mondays from 5:30 to 7 p.m. A joint venture proudly brought to you by Cape Flat Stories and Radio Eastriver with a combined reach of over 40 million. To advertise on this show, contact us at admin@radioeastriver.co.za. Onze stasie, onze talent en onze mense. Soek die waarheid.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
And just like that, we are back. Thank you so much for tuning into Radio Eastriver, onze stasie, onze talent. En julle wat nou my stem kan hoor, bly onze lekker mense. Welcome to the Waarheid Show. Just want to get to some of the comments that are left here on our Facebook page. Ek sien die RS mense is ingeskakel. Ons is baie lief vir dit. Yeah, we got Zemia Hendrik saying evening all. Then Mr. Josh Kinnear saying Ara is a first. Another comment from Angelique also saying Ara is a first. Then another adding on Dr. Swartz for President. Monica Marman also tuned in saying good evening Khoi, Kween and Stan. Thanks for bringing up the sensitive topic. My vote was a secret for 15 years and I'm ready to share my vote. Better my children's and my grandchildren's future. I'm a PA supporter. Then we also have Deirdre saying Dr. Swartz with heart emojis. I love to see that everybody, all the supporters are tuned in. We love that, as you guys can see.
We love it.
We love it.
Yeah, because we come, ons gaan nou lekker views kry.
Welcome to Radio Eastriver with Dr. Jerome Swartz. First and foremost, how are you feeling today?
Thank you. Queen, Queen, as you known, and Stan. It's great to be with you guys. I'm feeling excited, maybe slightly bit tired from all the traveling, but yeah, great to be with you guys.
Awesome. Doc, how do you, before we go into politics, how do you keep it up with, you have a business, you have a church, you have this party that you have to look after, and then you have life as well. How do you manage, how do you balance it? Is there enough hours in a day? Do we need more hours?
we got to get 28 hours out of 24 hours. we got to pull it out. So I think the balancing of your time is important. I think I had a question over this weekend as well. How do you do it? So I think if you're going to balance your time correctly and you've got the right people around you, I think you're going to go very far. And I think we got a good team around us. I think that's important, from managers to guys working in the other office to the business offices, good guys, good directors. And, they're very supportive. So I think that's, if they see the vision, they're willing to do the sacrifice. And it's great.
Awesome.
But is this my actual voice? I sound cool.
Through the microphone. Doc, I want to get, and then I'll give over to my colleague. I want to get into the facts. You said something that not a lot of parties said or didn't say it at all. You said that you will look after the elderly folk. You will make sure the pension gets increased if they vote for you. I think at the moment they get 1,800 and something rand.
2,200 2020.
And every year what happens is they get an increase, but it's like a 50 rand, 10 rand increase. Where member of parliaments get a few thousand rand increase, which is unfair. What are you going to do when you get into power? What can our elderly folk expect from ARA going into power?
I almost wanted to say, what did I say now again? That's controversial. I think, with the pension fund that ARA will launch is, we're talking about 7,500. And to a lot of people, that's actually a bit, for some it's laughable, but for others it's actually little. State-owned pensions vary from about 14,000, 11,000, up 14,000. That's now your teachers, that's now your, depends on the service and so forth. But I think your question is from the 7,500? Yeah, that's something we're going to push big time. You know why? Because it brings dignity to the old people,
Yes.
when I mean pensioners and so forth, the seniors. And it's a way to use a jockey to turn the economy. I think even if you want to turn the economy, our economy is it's standing still because
That's correct.
I think it actually collapsed. That's my personal opinion from a economist point of view.
Meaning that, Doc, what you say, and you can feel, I mean, you have almost 60% unemployed and 40% employed, meaning 40% of the country is looking after the 60%. That actually speaks volumes because what is really happening? They have been stealing money for the last 30 years. No jobs were created, no infrastructures were built. Nothing was really, the only thing that the ANC did very well was to change street names. That was the only thing.
I thought you were going to say steal.
That as well. But how do we revive, while we're on this question, how do we revive the economy? What is the first things? I mean, you as a businessman, what are you going to implement? What are your team going to implement to get a kickstart?
Man, that is the most easiest thing to do. Okay, you ask a politician as to what they're going to do. They tell you, foreign investment. That's a nonsense. Yes, it is part of it, but people are not going to invest into South Africa if there's not conducive. If they cannot get the money back, if there's no good returns.
Yeah.
Currently, the returns are, I think that's why we keep the interest rate high to get better returns. But that doesn't mean we're going to get jobs. Okay, so what do you do? Now, how do we turn the economy? You've got to put more money into the economy. That is how you turn the economy. That's number one. But how do you do it is you're going to get more jobs.
Yeah.
Now, I've said this on SABC, and I can say this to you, and I can say this to we've done this at the manifesto launch. Now, why I was so careful to say it, because I can tell you the DA will sell the same story, the ANC will sell the same story. When we talked about jobs, initially we said 2 million jobs. And then the DA launched and the ANC launched 2 million job campaign. And then we said 3 million. And what happened was that the ANC launched a 7 million job campaign in KZN. And so a lot of guys now increase their jobs. I think EFF was increasing that to 3 million or 4 million. So what you do is that your market, where do we get jobs? We get jobs from businesses.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to increase businesses. At the moment, we got about 1,100, just over 1,100 business that has liquidated last year. Okay, so you got a problem already. When they liquidate, job losses. You got a government to finance those businesses again. Business rescue does work, but business rescue is not really a key.
Yeah.
So this is the technical part of it. So you got to keep businesses open. You got to get business coaches. We got quite a number of business coaches in South Africa. Yeah. You got to keep them. You got to keep them open. Then secondly, you got about something like, how do we do 450,000 jobs within 6 to 8 months to a year? You buy the current businesses that are for sale. For example, the guys put their guest house for sale, the hotels for sale, the franchise for sale, you name it, will go for sale. Now, when you do that, you break down. You can from that we can gauge. We've done this whole analysis. It's quite easy. You can start about 50 to 150,000 jobs per province in different areas. So, government needs to have government loans, especially to entrepreneurs, business people currently running businesses. Even to myself, I will gladly. We can start another 10 businesses myself. I mean, you can do. It's so easy. You can do it on your cell phone. You know that's. I'm not trying to be ridiculous, but that's how easy it is.
It is.
You can run from my cell phone. And so you got to finance businesses. And doing so, you can start 450,000 jobs. We've done we've done the layout of that. That's one aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you create now 450,000 jobs just by refining current businesses for sale in South Africa. How many businesses are for sale? Something like about close to 1,000, 1,500 business, 1,400. You're going to spend something like about 30 billion to do that.
Yeah.
30.5 billion.
Isn't it a lot, Doc? If you think about the 500 million that is still.
Comparable to the 5 billion is still, we're still waiting for answers. They give us a ridiculous explanation. Going to this finance sector, it is peanuts. We're talking about 30 billion.
Yeah. Okay.
Then Stan and Kween, let me say this to you. What you do, the next thing you do as government, You get the mines. Now, I'll ask the Minister of Minerals and those in charge of the mines. I'm going to ask them how many mines is in South Africa, how many active mines are there. I can guarantee they won't be able to tell you. 552 mines, 554 maybe. 6,000 mines in South Africa. Okay, 2,000 you cannot use. You got about another 2,000 mining projects. Okay, you got 184 owners of mines. 184 owners owning more than more than 652 mines in SA. So what you do is that you stop permits, or you can use permits. It's we can work that way around. And with the mining industry, if South Africa should open more mines under a state-owned company, which I think sometimes they don't have the knowledge or the wit to do it, you can get another 200,000 jobs just in the mines. Processing another 300,000 jobs, they got 500,000. We're talking about 3 million. I mean, the starting jobs, the endless possibility. You go to Durban, you can do the same in Durban and so forth. Okay, maybe I'm boring you with the facts, but that's
But Doc, that is the thing that the ANC could have done over the last 30 years. My question is, Khoi, why haven't they done this? Why do you, that actually now, this is the reason why the country is in the mess. Why we have a high crime rate, because people are not working also. People have to do crime in order to like survive. Okay,
so why is that? Why is it not? Okay, his explanation. You put a guy, you put a guy, maybe he doesn't have matric, cadre deployment. The only argument they have is they liberated South Africa. That's a qualification. That's a CV, okay?
Yeah.
They fought or somebody died or the family member died, which is good and well, but that's not a qualification to run a country. That can be a qualification maybe in the army and some security services, which I think is necessary. But you got to get the people that you bring in are people. Actual fact, you cannot bring a hungry man to a party.
Correct.
He's going to carry all the food away. He's going to wrap it up in a little, you weet wat die manne doen as he wedding to come. They bring extra wrapping paper with for the family at home. So this is what the guys are doing. So you can't take a hungry guy. You can't give a guy a crash course. He must have some sort of qualification.
Correct.
Right? So that's the issue. You got to have some sort of qualification. Number one. Number two, you can't be a hungry man. And number three, the guys must be able to run a business somehow. Because you're going to have something like, like for example, Premier. The Premier candidate, windy. I say the wind blows, the windy. Very windy guy. I've got a nickname for Blades and Mandy, also a shady. Blade is shady. But windy doesn't even have it. He's got matric. The matric. His still is also matric. This is bad. Maybe if you had an extra diploma, it would be a plus or a certificate in something. But these guys, so they come in, they make promises. Now, when you run a business, you can't make promises to people like this. You have to work the numbers, especially from a provincial candidate. So people promise people left, right, and center. Say, I'm going to do this 1, 2, and 3, and they don't know. They don't understand budgets. They don't look at the budgets. They don't know how to spend. That's where your economy is your number one issue. Not even you talk about crime, not crime. Crime is just because of the economy. That's where your number one issue. So you got to understand the economy.
Doc, I'm going to give over to my colleague quickly. Maybe she has a question, but I want to come back and I want to touch back on that conversation of our economy.
Just before we get into anything, just want to read some comments. We got a Mark Williams tuned in on TikTok Live with Radio East River, asking there, is that Dr. Jerome Swartz? Yes, my brother, it is. Then he also says, I love that guy very much. He's safe with my soul. Then we also have George Visser saying, evening, George from Heidelberg, Johannesburg, tuned in. Then Mr. Williams also saying, I didn't see him in years. My eyes are popping out full of happy tears now.
Sure. Aww. So he never saw me in years. That's fantastic. You guys. So that means you guys are quite big. I'm seeing some Mr. Williams. Okay.
Before we get into that, thank you so much for everybody that has been commenting and sharing and liking the live. Please continue to do so. For those who don't know who Dr. Jerome Swartz is, maybe just explain to us in a nutshell bit of your upbringing, how you got into politics and that whole thing. Ons wil alles weet.
Dat is misschien waarheid, hè? Kan je licht vandaan?
Kan je licht vandaan?
Okay, well, what happened was, I think, it started with the frustration. I was part of another political group. I don't want to mention the name, but I saw corruption in that group. That's one of the main reasons I left. And so from that point, I understood that it was never a desire to get involved in politics on the scale. Never. Wasn't interested in. Business was doing great. Everything was doing great. Family is fantastic. My wife is fantastic. But the problem was that I realized that if you're not going to do something, if you're going to leave South Africa, we got one less radio presenter, one less engineer, one less a journalist sitting here. Engineers leave, one less engineer, one less doctor. We're not fighting for South Africa. We are allowing South Africa to be turned to another country like Namibia, like Botswana. I wouldn't say Namibia, but like Botswana and so many other countries that are going down. Maybe not morally, but economically they're collapsing. So I'm very careful when I say that. But we are moving very steadily to a collapse. And I realize if my children are going to grow up, they're going to ask me, Dad, what did you do for South Africa? What did you do? I want to ask my great grandparents that. What did you do that you allowed apartheid? You allowed this thing. You could not fight. You were willing to just believe everything, and pack your bags and move to Mitchell's Plain, move to where's the other areas, Bishop Blavers, all the other areas where people will throw into. And the question is, I don't want people to ask me in my generation, what did I do differently? It's easy to pack up your bags and leave. I want to say this thing, that, and maybe I'm going to get spiritual here, but maybe some people need to hear this, because people pack up the bags and leave to Australia, England, you name it. If God wanted you to be in Australia and He's sovereign and we believe in a God, then you would have been born in Australia. You had no choice to be born in the skin color you are. You not had a choice to be born in the area you are in. You never had a choice to be born in the family you are in. So I think it was sovereign will that God put you in a family, in a home, in a South Africa, because you got the ability and the guts to change South Africa. If it was meant for you not to be here, you'd have been born in the USA or Alaska, and you could have done something there. But you were meant to be here. So if we believe in a God, I think most South Africans, 80% do. Then you're going to believe that He's put you here for a reason. And there's no reason why you should run, but rather stay and fight. Yeah. And then maybe the second reason why I got involved with politics, a lot of politicians are stupid. I mean, plain stupid.
Can't say that again.
Did you record it?
You can record it. Quote me on it. Number 3, that's for you and Stan, the Khoi Queen. I think all of them must be fired. They are ridiculous. You can't have people, the same guys they're going back to Parliament. We're going to have the same bunch of crooks, same bunch of, I'm going to use the word idiots. Yeah. You're going to have the same guys going again, and they're going to do the same old thing over and over and over. They're going to promise you roads. And you know what? The IEC actually funds the corruptness in South Africa. What I mean by that, the IEC actually pays the ANC 160 million, the DA another 80 million, the EFF 60 million to canvass again. I mean, that's bad. How do you pay? You pay for people to come back into power. Yeah. If you're a new party, you get nothing. And we're not saying we're asking for anything, but I'm saying, so IEC has contributed, taking out tax money to actually finance the same groups to go back. So maybe that's a 3 reasons why I'm going to into government or politics. We say it. We call it politicking. Many ticks. The tick in a dog skin. Yeah. Many ticks. So if they're politicians, there are many ticks. There are many. So I'm actually into going to government.
Laat me uitgedruk raak die ontheid. Doc, you said something that also. Look, I follow all politicians, but I also listen to what they say. There are certain things on the Cape Flats that we must fight. There are certain social ills that we need to address. You said something, that aligns with what I believe in. Rapists and pedophiles should be hanged. Especially, I feel I've done research on this, and there is very seldom people that are pedophiles that can be rehabilitated. And these people are breeding in our communities. There's a lot of them, and even so, families are also covering for them.
Yes.
You said something that you are going to take care of this matter, so you just elaborate more there. What can we expect? Because this is, 2 weeks ago, you read in the paper, a pastor, an apostle, a politician was in the paper. And everybody's quiet about it. Why are we quiet about it? Who is protecting the innocent person? Now, what we say as a pastor, many people would now say, I don't not touch the anointed one. I don't think that person is anointed. I think the person is sick.
When it's criminal, doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a pastor, a religious group, when it's criminal, it's a criminal act. So when it's a criminal act, you gotta look at how to deal with it. So when I talked about the death penalty, I know that it's actually quite big with that issue. I think the Son Current also carried it, and some other article carried it. But the death penalty is something, number one, is going to deter them from crime.
Yeah.
If you know there's a death penalty hanging, now a lot of people do not agree with that fact. And I'm not. Let me say this: I will actually go and sit there as a president, actually, seeing somebody that is a wicked person removed from the earth.
No.
Because that person, if you talk about the death penalty, let's talk about rape. Let's talk about killing somebody. Let's talk about pedophiling. When you rape somebody, I believe that person actually deserves a death penalty. You talk about the rehabilitation. That craving is going to come again. You actually destroy a person's future, a woman's future. A past to come right. For a lady to fix herself in that case, it's going to take so much work. It's so hard to do. You destroy the future. Killing somebody, you take that man's destiny, his bloodline.
Yeah.
You're wiping his future. That could have been the next millionaire. Could have been the next entrepreneur. He could have employed 500 people. You kill the guy. Pedophiling, you're destroying a young person's life. There's so much you do to that child that he cannot fix himself. Mentally, he's distorted. Emotionally, is messed up. And the person that does it, now we rehabilitate them. And to the Christian, I must say, how can you rehabilitate a spirit that's inside of? That's for the Christian people that believe those things. Even the jails does not do a good thing at rehabilitation. How guys come out and then the rapists come out and rape somebody again. They walk in, they see a girl in the street, they pull her into a bush, into a taxi and rape the person. That is wicked. It is something that we will not tolerate under others' watch. There's so much tolerance we're going. We tolerate. It's not about tolerance to other things. Fairness and tolerance is two different things, but that's something you cannot tolerate.
Doc, are we going to take a break quickly? Then can I come back to you? We want to talk about ESCOM, but I don't think we need to talk about ESCOM. ESCOM is working now.
Until the elections. ESCOM, baby, before you take... ESCOM is going to hit off on the 29th probably at about 5 o'clock. It will hit off.
Yes.
Then the votes will come in.
Yes. It is over.
If there is anybody tuned in and you guys want to ask some questions, you want to send some voice notes, please do communicate with us on our WhatsApp line. That's 064-536-9095. This is Divided with Stan Jacobs and Kween live on Radio East River. We're going to get to all of your comments right after the music break. Thank you so much for conversing with us. Do keep them coming.
Radio East River. Radio East River. Radio East River. Radio East River.
Als ik denk hoe ons land kan wees, als ons samen staan. Doe net wat de moeilijkheid kan heers, als ons samen staan.
Ons families sal weer rustig slaap. ons omgeving kan weer veilig raak as ons saamstaan.
Want to take your business to the next level? Advertise with Radio East River by emailing us at admin@radioeastriver.co.za.
ya molweni emakhaya singu-Radio East River sifumaneka kuzo zonke social media platforms.
My fellow South Africans, join us as we uncover the Waarheid with Stan Jacobs and Kween. Let's talk about South African politics with various political figures this election season. Stay informed with the Waarheid, Mondays from 5:30 to 7 p.m. A joint venture proudly brought to you by Cape Flat Stories and Radio East River with a combined reach of over 40 million. To advertise on this show, contact us at admin@radioeastriver.co.za. Onze stasie, onze talent en onze mensen. Soek die waarheid.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Tidang Rugby.
And just like that, we are back. Thank you so much for everybody for conversing with us. Right now, we are live on Facebook with Radio East River and, of course, Cape Flats. And in the break, we actually just mentioned, yes, I think it was over 2 months ago. I actually need to update that 20 million poster. But Stan was saying that Radio East River and Cape Flats Stories, such a powerful combination of independent media houses, because together we reach over 40 million. So,
yes.
Beautiful.
You know, I was just before we go into this, I think people underestimating the local media houses. I was over the weekend at the Jazz Festival, and we could create the same content as the other guys. You know, we were also seen as IOL, like a IOL. So they mustn't underestimate us. When we bring you news, when we bring you our people, it's genuinely. There's no one is telling us what to say or how to say it. We say it as it is, and that is why we need independent media companies like ourselves.
Ons praat die waarheid, yeah. Thank you so much for everybody that's tuned in. We got Zenny Tips, Marlene Beer, everybody. I don't know, it's going crazy there. Shout out to Auntie Debbie Mack. I see she's also tuned in there. Some comments coming through there. Fahimia Joseph saying Dr. Swartz for president. Sean Ney saying Ara all the way. Then Mr. Josh, I'll see you tuned in saying we're actually going for 22 million. Thank you for the update, Mr. J. Thank you. Then we also have a comment here that came through earlier on from Deshaun Williams, saying, I am Deshaun Williams, a youth member of ARA. My reason why I'm voting ARA is because I believe that the leader of ARA can bring a big transformation in South Africa. And I believe that ARA can empower the youth of South Africa. And I believe that ARA can bring great employment back into South Africa. And that 3 months jobs contract with the DA, that the DA gives our brown people of South Africa. But I believe ARA will give everlasting jobs to our brown people. And I believe that Dr. Jerome Swartz will be the best president for South Africa. Hey,
Sure.
hey. The people have opinions, and we love it. That's right. Dr. Jerome Swartz is in studio, and if you have any questions for him, do send it through.
Doc, we just before we finished to go on to a break, we spoke about Eskom. It's working now. Like I said last week, we're going to have achterstallige Eskom load setting.
Stage 10.
I think that is the one thing they've been lying to us. You know, Eskom has been affecting many companies, many jobs, people that couldn't afford to put in solar power or whatever. And the companies had to close down. I think the whole Eskom is a myth. It is a lie. I mean, we didn't once had load setting for the last month. How do we stop this from now continuing next month? And if you go into power, I think you have a very big job, because remember, these people are still going to be there. You're going to have to work with them for the next 6-7 months to get him out of power. How are you going to work with him? How are you, because you can't just fire him also. That is obviously now against the democratic right. How will ARA look at this matters, this corrupt matters? How will they deal with the corruption in Eskom and in the other state of our businesses?
Yeah, you know, when we join forces or come into parliament, our candidates have a clear mandate is to deal with all policies, to deal with people, call them out, call responsibility. It's just unfortunate that your opposing parties has got so limited power. Okay, so this is why it's so great to have so many people coming out, so many new parties, so we can actually break the monopoly. And so we can get competent people that can be nominated for parties. Because, you know, during a coalition, a lot of negotiations will take place for who will take for what position and so forth. And your Eskom issue right now, you know, that we are actually running about 565 generators right now. That's generators. So that is not your coal plant, your coal generating plant. You're talking about petrol generation. This is, your country is running on a generator. That's bad. So the coal, I believe that we should get back to, we've been sold green energy all the time. You know that actual fact, we've been sold green energy in Africa. Eh?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Africa sold the green energy concept. But in other countries, you go to the States and so forth, they go in coal. They're still going coal. So solving the energy is actually fact, the energy crisis. Okay, there's probably three things: it's the grid, it's the coal, the supply, and of course it's the what do you call it? The management style. So it's the grid. You know, the grid must be maintained. The grid is actually fact, the wiring coming in, the poles. That's the grid. Our grid is not probably one of the best. You lose like something like about, you know, when energy comes from Eskom, let's say, for example, 10 gigawatts comes from Eskom. When it reaches Cape Town, it's probably about 1 gigawatt. So you got 9 million that lost in transit because of the infrastructure. So you got to do maintenance. Your money got to spend in maintenance, but you got to actually get the right people in Eskom, because the guys in Eskom are stealing the money. That's, you know, it's like a mafia. It's a mafia game. What did one of the guys said? Almost 1 billion lost every month, stolen. That's what we know about. What about what we do not know about? And so, you know, I was I came into the airport and somebody was standing there and I was where did they work? They said by Eskom. This is just one of the guys. I mean, I've been driving past in Mpumalanga at the Eskom plants and I could see the trucks driving. The coal trucks are driving past the plant. I mean, where they're going to the border. They're going to the ports to deliver the coal because apparently South Africa makes more money. SA makes more money on selling coal internationally than locally. Or in the black market. So come to the point. We gotta get the right people in the job to fix the job. Now you got electricity minister. The actual fact is starting to do the job. You know, we should never have had this. It shows you the corruptness that Cyril was actually involved with the energy issue since 2008. 2008. He was actually on the board, by the way, of Eskom, and they predicted when he came in, we said this will be the past issue. So you got to keep them accountable. Besides keeping accountable, I believe that in SOEs, what do you do? How do you fix SOEs, which is ESCOM? Okay, so maybe I'm going off the point, but maybe there's necessary. Do you know how many SOEs in South Africa? There's a lot of people don't know this. So we got 748 SOEs in South Africa. Did you know that? Kween? No? Zimbabwe's got about 78 or 115, 78 they got. SOEs. So when you talk about SOEs, you got to get a committee, not a committee, you got to get like a CCMA for commercial, for SOEs. You have to have an independent court where people are actually, if you have corruption at an SOE company, like an ESCOM, the person is brought before that corporate court for crimes and they will get jail time. We don't have something like that. We got something for CCMA for labor.
Yes.
We got a tax court, but we don't have a SOE court where actually fact the guys can be brought to book. So this is why people get away with it. Because there is no like SARS right now. People fear SARS because you get a letter, you're gonna have to pay, it's a criminal offense.
Correct.
People in ESCOM fear nobody. They don't have an ultimatum as a board. You know, they have a board. They fall under corporate governance, and the guy that started was normally King. Judge King was actually the guy. So you get this thing called King 4, King 3, corporate governance. So what should happen is that we should have actually a court dealing with SOE specifically, because we are talking about a minimum staff nationally, something like 700,000. Okay, guys that work in SOEs. So from tender fraud, and there's political parties that's good for tender fraud. IFP, DA is involved with tender fraud, ANC is involved with tender fraud. So you got to bring those guys to book and say, listen here, if you're not doing your job, you a Minister of Parliament, you're not supposed to get involved in tenders. Your mayor is not supposed to get involved in tenders. City officials are not supposed to get involved in tenders. All of these people should be accountable to a court such as that, which is a SOE court. So this is not on our main manifesto, but this is one of the things that we're advocating for. So I hope that makes a bit of sense.
Doc, you said something about the tender fraud. I mean, there's a lot of frauds happening at ESCOM itself where politicians are making money and nobody's being held accountable. Whatever has been stolen in the last 30 years should be taken back from these people. That's something that ARA will do to recover. It's like all the money that went missing from the corrupt agencies. There are things that ARA will take back from the people so we can strengthen our money thing.
Our treasure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you should do is that people like that should be accountable. So ARA comes into power. We're gonna audit South Africa. That's number one. That we're gonna audit every region. Your previous minister that went and took money, now he's gone. Okay, a minister takes about steals 200 million. He's gone. He's now lost his job. But he's on holiday in Ireland. He's somewhere floating on a yacht. Okay, they got to be recalled. It's a criminal offense for what you've taken from the SA. We got to go back at least 15, 20 years to recoup all that money. The assets must be frozen. Under the Poker Act, there is a portion dealing with criminal activities where the assets must be seized. That's their houses, their homes. We should seize those people. So you gotta, even our justice system is so bad. Judges play golf with advocates. That's how people get away with crime because there's no independence. From SOEs with tender frauds and how to deal with those things. That's what I'm saying. You got to have a SOE court where those people are brought to book, and all those tenders they called back, or not tenders. Sorry. Those involved with tender fraud, they should be called back. They should be summoned. They should be investigated. Their bank statements should be pulled. If we are so open over FICA and government transparency, which is a lie in South Africa, but I mean that's what we should do.
Doctor, and the other question somebody mentioned, we are already 30 years later. The one thing that stood out for me about the revolution back in the day, or the liberation movement, they fought against ghetto education.
Yeah.
I don't know what we call this we have today in South Africa. It is worse than Kate education. With Kate education, you still got a pencil, you still got books and stuff. Parents didn't have to buy stuff. You still have classes of 50 plus students. There's now a thing where many of our teachers are being retrenched, and some of them, their contracts has expired. What is our stance on fixing the education system? Because we are losing young people at the age of 15, 16 years old, dropping out of school, 12 years, 11 years old. Some of our kids can't read. There was a Stats SA did a survey where they actually saw that 84% of grade 4s can't read to comprehend or to understand. What is our stake and what is our plan to implement it? Because that's all things that have to change after the 29th of May.
You actually asked me 3 questions in one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
From the education point, let's talk about the teachers first. From the teachers, we got more than 500 teachers who probably lost their contracts. It didn't come to, they came back from the Easter weekend and found their contracts cancelled. That's what happened. Some schools have gone so far to help some of those teachers. Now, the sad thing is that this is under the maintenance of the DA government. So let us not be fooled about this. So they will say, you know what, it's the national government. It's not. They got a provincial budget to spend in the Western Cape, okay? And if they were smart, they could have put money, and if something happened, they could have put in their a piggy bank and their savings and put it in for the teachers. This is your most important commodity in South Africa. So that's your teachers. Number 2, education has failed. You know, the province that was known for education was the Eastern Cape. I don't even know that. Eastern Cape was actually the province for education. You know, your schooling, top schooling. We have actual fact now what we do, we look for the syllabus everywhere in the world. That's when we look for the syllabus. We dump our syllabus and we look everywhere. So South Africa is still sitting with a factory schooling system. Now, when I say factory, I mean this is something inherited from 1948. It was inherited from the Germans. Okay, so you know that in Germany, what happened was that Adolf Hitler, after they lost the World War and Hitler killed himself, their economy boomed, shockingly. They wonder why the economy boomed. Then they started the factory system. The economy boomed because the Germans stole all the Jews' gold and artifacts. Okay, I'm not getting to the Jewish thing because it seems now it's a Palestine issue. Leave that store. You know, I think you're tempted to talk about Palestine. I'm not leave that. But this is why the economy boomed. They killed the Jews and took their money. That's what happens. Then they started VW. By the way, VW, the Volkswagen. Yeah. The Volkswagen. The folk means the folk's car. So VW, the money was pushed into VW. It started factory system schools, and the economy boosted. Okay, now we're still sitting with a factory system. What do we mean by factory system? If you look at a class, the way we set out, the factory system is not helping South Africa at the moment. So what you got to do is that you got to get practical solutions. What does South Africa need in a country? If you ask, what is the vision of any political party must have at least a 10-year, 20-year vision plan that means behind it down to see the success of the economy. Your country can reach financial success probably in about 2029. We can actually see the fruits of it. 2027, 2029, 2030, we should have a complete change towards Africa. But if you're going to have education change, we've got to train the people in the robotics. Our kids do not know even how to bake any longer. They don't know. You know, it's shocking for me to have a shop selling today cakes. You know, your mother and your mother and father, they used to make sisters and cakes and all those donuts. Today it's a shock they don't know how to make a cake. A cake goes now for what? 3,000 rand a wedding cake, 4,000 rand a wedding cake, 1,800. I mean, you know.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, baking powder, self-raising powder to make that cake cost you less than 100. But the kids don't know how to bake. People don't know how to make food. Our kids don't know how to change a light bulb. They don't know what's a red wire and a green wire. So your electronics is out. They don't know how to fix a motherboard. They don't know how to do, for example, sound engineering should be taught on school.
Yes.
All right. So what we do, this is our flawed. Let me show the flawed system. You go to school, you listen, you study and write an exam. Okay. You go to school, listen, study and write an exam. You go to school, study, write an exam and get the results. When you finish matric, when you go to work at where, let's say whatever company.
Checkers.
No, checkers is a, but it's not skill. It's a job, but it's not a skill. They go, write an exam. They listen, write an exam, get the result. That system does not work. Because the only thing the kid can do is research, read a book, write an exam.
Yeah.
But they cannot do something practical.
Yes.
So that doesn't work. So you're actually training somebody to become a researcher. That's actually what we're doing. In South Africa, we don't need researchers. We need practical solutions. We need, in Stellenbosch, what people don't know, do you know that we are actually fucking building stuff for, what's this guy, Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Equipment.
At the university?
Yes.
We're
actually building. So we need practical solutions. We need to get guys into the technology space. Need to get people into agriculture. We need to get people back into welding, plumbers. You know how hard it is to get a plumber, the electricians. People don't want to do it any longer. So that's where our schooling system has failed. We got to get to the practical side. People say that technology, we got to get to a place where the Minister of Education must be so smart and not be shady. Like I say, Blade, shady. Blade, shady. Blade. You got to be able to push people into a direction. You got to be able to push people into a sector that is needed in South Africa.
Yeah.
You know what? Mandela done this once, and I don't want to credit the ANC for anything, but Mandela saw the shortage of black accountants. Right? Black accountants. What did in 1994, 1995 was push black people to study accountants and actuary science. By the way, do you know how many actuaries in South Africa?
A lot.
Actuaries, we got less than 1,000.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a demand for it.
Yeah.
For it.
Yes, actuaries. There's a demand for working out the formulas for banking license and insurance and so forth. So that's the lack of it. We got lack of doctors, we got lack of dentists. So the practical side of it is what we need.
Doc, and then also just to come on that, we also import a lot of skills from overseas to Cape Town, where we have unemployed people.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we should also stop that once we start training our people, because we're sending, like most of Eskom's workers is working in France now, other countries. Our people are leaving the city. You have a youngster finishing at UCT, one of the best universities, University of Stellenbosch as well, and UWC. So what they do is they have the qualification. Now there's no jobs for them. They go overseas and they start a family there. I think we are working it wrong. We're looking for skills, but we have the skills, but we're not really maintaining what we have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So my question is, what are you going to do? Because we are losing skills to other countries.
What must you do? Jobs. That's the answer. Jobs. I met a guy. I was cutting my hair, by the way. And walks in, shakes my hand. He says, "Oh, I know you. I see a lot about you." He goes, "Brown guy, colored guy. I don't like using the word colored, but brown guy. Let's say Khoi guy, Khoi Queen. He's Khoi guy." Okay. And he's got 2 PhDs in physics.
Wow.
Comes in with a bow tie, and he says, "You know what? I've left South Africa. Myself, my wife, we left. We're actually teaching in Singapore right now." This is the type of people, 2 PhDs in physics. You tell me, find me another person with 2 PhDs in physics. Then you must be, you're smart, okay? But this is the type of people we're leaving, that's losing. So you got to create jobs. Again, it's jobs. It's easy. I always say it's easy because for me it's common sense. I don't know how it's not common sense to people. Okay. If you got about, let's say, they say 890,000 graduate matric, okay? That was last year. 800 someone graduated. From the 890,000 graduate, probably about 200,000 are going to get into university. 800,000 or 600,000 will be unemployed. 650 will be unemployed, contributing to your job loss of about you're unemployed of about 7 million already.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's like this, if you from grade 7, coming to grade 8, you know the amount of people coming in, right?
Yeah.
If you know the amount leaving school or leaving your university, you got to make room for that for that group at that point. If you got 50 engineers coming out of university, okay, or let's say 100 engineers, push the engineers into the engineering field in SA. If you have to make it compulsory, you have to, but you're going to offer them. You're going to have to offer them salaries. You got to make room for them. That's how you measure it. That's you do. You know, China. Let me say this to you. China, the economy of China. Do you know that China was 800 million people?
Yeah.
Over 40 years, they lifted the poverty out of. There were 94%. They were poor nation in poverty. 90% were in poverty. That was 40 years ago. Today, China has lifted the whole. They've lifted the whole of the nation of 800 million citizens. They've lifted it out of poverty, and the poverty now is 0.7%. How do they do it?
Yeah.
The actual fact, when the people finished university, they push the people into that sector of work. And so that's why I'm saying it's very easy. You know, that's why I'm saying it's actually a very simple solution. Are you telling me that people, when you at university, we don't have the data? We know exactly how many engineers we're pushing out. We know exactly how many architects we're pushing out. We know exactly how many plumbers we're pushing out. We should know that. We should know. And if you know that and you have no contingency plan, what's the use of having that type of education? Because you don't have an outlet. So you got to have an outlet. That's how you solve the problem. You have an outlet. Now, when you have an outlet, you look at how many factories there is. Now, simple example. I know how many factories is in Atlantis. There's 84 factories and 94 businesses. Common sense. I mean, it doesn't. I'm sitting here in Easterfie, and I can tell you how many businesses in Easterfie. So you push those engineers out. You push them into your ESCOM. You push them into your Petrol SA. You take your SOEs first and push them into the SOEs. Get the SOEs working. 780 of them. I'm making the ANC smart. You know that.
780 SOEs, meaning that we can tomorrow, if we do it right, start employing people.
Yes. So people say, I'm saying jobs. You know, I'm thank you for Stan, because now, you know, I'm explaining for the first time in more detail.
Okay.
Know? Thank you for that. Thank you, Khoi.
Pleasure.
I actually like the name Khoi. You know, one day I'm going to give you. I'm going to talk about Khoi as well. Khoi in the same, because people don't appreciate their own heritage.
Correct.
You know, they don't appreciate where they come from. So that's another talk for another day. You'll be so. What's the word?
Surprise.
I think you'll change your name again to Khoi. Apply it 5 times 5. So in love you'll be with your Khoi nation. Yeah. So that's jobs. That's jobs.
We got some WhatsApps that came through, some questions. 3 questions in specific. So the first 2, one message is saying, "Good evening, Dr. Swartz, Uncle Stan, and the infamous Khoi Queen. I'd like to give credit to ARA for its party growth. Also, visible community work in some parts of the Cape Flats. My first question is, other than that, what has ARA set out to achieve, and have those objectives been met? Question number 2, who are ARA's female leaders, and will of them be seen in chambers as PR councillors and higher rankings up in ARA? Statement, ARA's structure seems a bit male-dominated and bloated. Please correct me if I'm wrong." That is from Mr. Adams.
I'm gonna say, good question. I thank you for observing, but I would say you're observing from a far point. I think, but it's a good question. Number 1, has ARA done things in other provinces as well? Yes. The question was pertaining to, if I read it correctly, reached objectives. We have not reached all of our objectives as we would like to. We are pushing of it because of time. We are time conscious, and we're not sitting with the budgets that the DA is sitting with. The DA is sitting with a budget of 84 billion. If we can get it, if we can do the budget, we'll do probably 10 times more things than what they're currently doing right now. So across South Africa, we are feeding people, building homes, cleaning. Not beside cleaning. Actually, you know what happened? I must tell the Khoi Queen this. One of our councillors, actually, when he had a team, they actually they use their salaries, and they employ people, by the way. So one of our councillors is employed, that's Malcolm, Councillor Malcolm Jacobs. He's employed 10, 12 people. They call the team another team that actually goes and clean stormwater channels.
Mm-hmm.
So they've cleaned 137 stormwater channels within 1 week. They got a letter from council to say, this is what they say. This is a shock. I want you to listen to this. The letter they got was saying, you know what? You are breaking the infrastructure. Stop cleaning. And the drains were not cleaned for 5 years.
Sure.
Okay, so a lot of the stuff we've been doing across the provinces, this is with our own money. This is not political funding. This is not government funding. It's our own money. We're planning to do a project now in the Northwest and also in Limpopo where we're going to bring water balls. That's actually the plan. So our team, they're actually going to do balls because people in Northwest has not received water for the last 5 years. Now, forget about, you put the tap on here, we got water shortage. No, water shortage. Don't forget about Northwest has probably never have water for the next 5 years. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
In Google Earth, we put piping in to service about 70 homes, but close to 700 people. That just happened now, like 2 months ago. So that's the first question. Second question, what was it? Male dominance? No, we got actually the sec gen as a female. She's actually a doctor. She's actually the sec gen of the party. So we're going to get more people like that. We got strong leaders in the group in the direct national party. I think it's more woman dominated than me dominated. I think you just see our faces, but the team behind it is actually the ladies. And actually, in fact, the person is distributing all the marketing materials is actually a woman. She's actually the one distributing all the materials, getting all the printing done. The lady. People spearheading campaigns is actually ladies. So that's from that point. I think there was a third question in there.
Yes, the third question is a separate question, asking, what is your opinion on the BEE and how will you be able to stop this reverse apartheid?
BEE was started by Sanlam, by the way. People don't know that. Santam, to be exact. Santam Boerkiers. They started BEE. It's just like they started the National Union of Mines. The National Union of Mines was started by, what's his name? What's the also name? The Boerkin Stellenbosch. Yeah, that guy.
Part of the mafia.
Yeah, that guy. So they started that to protect themselves. So they look innocent. But what's the people's name? The mining group.
Is the Ruppers,
the Oppenheimers.
The Oppenheimers, yeah.
They started it with for Cyril. Mm-hmm. Cyril never, Cyril was the head of the mines, but Cyril never went actually into a mine. Mm-hmm. He never went. He never went underground.
But he actually owns it.
Yes. So when you come to BE structure, BE structure, it is. There are certain portions that we could use, but not everything. Because BE right now is only working for a certain group.
Correct.
If you're not black enough, you can't get it. If you got the status, there's even you can do a degree now in the BE structure. So I think the BE structure will be only scrapped once you got a government change. Mm-hmm. And so what you got to do is you got to bring fairness, especially in your tendering process, because BE really deals with tendering, and that's the issue. So you got to bring fairness and capacity to it. BE does not work in some areas. In Limpopo, we got farmers to do a road. They made a deal with the municipality. Mm-hmm. They said, if we do the road, we'll fix the road. You meet us halfway. They fixed the road. Listen to this, for 2 million. If they put it under 10, it would be 25 million. This is why we are saying, that's why I say you asked me the question, why are you going to politics? That's because a lot of guys are idiots. Yeah. They are really, and they think by stealing, they're helping. By stealing, they're destroying themselves and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren's future.
Mm-hmm. Doc, I want to ask you a question, and then I'll give back to Kween, maybe just to continue with the questions. You've spoken about China and what I've done.
Uh-huh.
Now remember, we have another issue on another group of people we need to consider here.
Uh-huh.
BRICS. BRICS is a group of people that came together to sort of look after themselves, but to be independent from the Western, countries.
Mm-hmm.
If let's just say, everybody decides on the 29th we're going to vote for ARA. ARA is going to be the party to govern us. Will you continue the relationship with BRICS, or will you return back to the Western relationships we had previously?
Okay,
international politics.
Yeah. Okay, I would say yes. That's the number one. The dollarization under the US, Africa is becoming tired of it. And we call the currency that's going to be probably in BRICS quite a bit is called the yuan. They're going to call it yuanization. The yuanization, the yen, from China itself and Russia itself. Russia has got a lot to offer. I think the world has been lied to by Russia. The fight in Russia and Ukraine, we don't hear about it anymore.
No.
It's quiet, but our fight is going on. You don't hear about it. But the fight is actually an energy war, by the way.
Correct.
It's an energy crisis. It's an energy war. So Russia has got a lot to offer. Brazil, by the way, we get most of our chicken from Brazil now. So BRICS, Russia, India. India, we get all our potatoes from, by the way. If you're going to cut our deal with India, you're going to starve, by the way.
Yes,
you know? India, what's the other one? South Africa. And of course, so those they got a lot to offer. Is American investment there? Yes, it is. I think the balancing is important, but we got to get South Africa to a point where our economy is strong.
Correct.
And whatever partner is going to help us with that. And China's been the part that's been helping SA quite a bit. You know, whether people like it. I mean, a lot of stuff made in China. We got to also stop that thing. Yeah. And China will have to understand that we got to build SA first. Yeah. We got to negotiate better. We got to negotiate better deals, because right now it is better to manufacture something in China than in South Africa. Okay, where something will cost. That's why we don't open factories, because the cost to do business in South Africa is very high compared to China. Cost to do work in China is cheap, it's much cheaper. That's why. So we are actually building the economy of China. South Africa is doing that. We are helping China succeed. We are helping China build an army where they are right now. We are Africanizing. We are Chinanizing Africa. All right. So Chinese, yes, they are welcoming investment, but you got to balance it. But they got to know there must be a firm arrangement. Cyril is not firm.
No.
Cyril is a playboy. Cyril is a small teddy bear. You know that's he's no good. He's absolutely no good. People put, I wanted to say something else about Cyril, but anyways, BRICS itself. There is benefits for BRICS, but South Africa have to have a tough approach to build in South Africa. They've got to build industries. They've got to bring factories back to bring SA to a place of prominence again. SA is considered the big brother Africa.
Yeah,
the big brother in Africa. So if right now, do you know that SA is involved with 10 wars and unrest in Africa? 10 countries. Our army is deployed into 10 nations right now. And SA must fix themselves. You can't have Cyril as government. You can't have Paul Mashaba as government. You can't have EFF. That guy, I don't know what's going to... I think you must be really absurd to vote EFF or even ANC. I think you must be either mentally unsound not to have the capacity or wit to run in South Africa. And I'm not ashamed to say it, because that's bad. If you have the dimwits like the DA... I call him dimwits, because really dim. South Africa, Western Cape is not working. I'm not going off the point in BRICS, but listen, there's a lot of things to talk about.
But Doc, there is the other thing. We had Naziria a couple of weeks back, and I want to say the EFF might become the official opposition party coming. A lot of people, because of what the ANC has done, and also people leaving the DA as well, many people are going to the EFF. If you can talk to those people and tell them why should they give ARA a chance instead of the EFF, what are you going to tell them?
Okay, maybe I must bring it all over to why ARA a chance than any other party. Because number one, we don't have a history of lying to people. We don't have a history of frauding people, like the bank issue VBS. We don't have a history of uncunning deals. We don't have a history of manipulating people when the elections come. Now suddenly we're fixing electric poles in the Western Cape. We suddenly are painting streets now. We're suddenly fixing roads in Northwest. So why do you vote for ARA? Because you need a new change. You need a new body. You need newness in South Africa.
Yeah.
if you're going to vote EFF, kill the Boer. When are they going to stop? Then they're going to say kill the colored. Then they're going to say kill the brown person. It can't be so ridiculous. You're destructive in South Africa. Open borders doesn't work. How can you open a border? You can't even solve your own crisis. If we must open the borders, let me tell you something. All 100 million jobless of Africans will run to South Africa. We'll have 107 jobless people in South Africa. 107 million jobless people. So this thing about people are saying, oh, they will stay in the area. It's a lot of nonsense. You open the borders. Every day in the border, we got thousands of people coming in every day because they understand that Cape Town, South Africa, Joburg is the place of milk and honey, which is actually what we sell. What we sell? But so it's newness. We have never. There's no record of fraud. You need somebody with new thoughts and new planning. You need people that are skilled right now. You don't go to government and then get a degree. I see all these people. They go to government. And suddenly now they get a degree. One get a bachelor's degree. The one get another degree, and then they sit in parliament and they laugh. They use parliament finance for education. I mean, this is so they say, no, that's wrong. When I look at me, I didn't come out of a home where we were rich, but my father and mother worked. I mean, they struggled during the apartheid time. The brown people are probably the most abused people you could find on the face in South Africa. So I understand, I'm a brown person. I understand the problem between the white and the black. I got black inside of me and I got white inside of me. So I understand both sides. The hurt on the one side, the fear on the one side, and the fear on the other side. Why you vote Arab? Because it's a restorative. It's a complete freshness that's coming to South Africa. And I think Arab what Arab is going to bring to South Africa. We're going to bring a wealth city concept to South Africa. There's so much that's going to happen and change in South Africa. Tough laws on criminals. We're not going to play games with criminals. I mean, death penalty is going to come in. Now people say, if you don't like the things, because then you're advocating criminals in South Africa. We bring jobs to South Africa. We are practical. Right now we're actually employing people. I got a number of accountants. I got 45 accountants working for me. We got different other groups working for me. Us right now, and so we're employing people continuously without government finance. So we go into the area, we look at the area, we can see. You look at the possibilities for jobs being started.
So there is hope, Doc. That's what you're saying. There is hope.
There is hope. Yeah.
Doc, we've come to the end of our time. We've actually went over our time. But I want to ask Kween, is there any other questions? Because we want to, if there's one or two questions, maybe we can just read it out and maybe we respond to it.
Just some love here in the comment section. People saying Dr. Jerome Swartz for President 2024. Then we also have, ek wil net gou vir iemand adres. Hier is 'n vyand in ons midde in. Clement Apollos, much love, much love. But the thing you see on Radio Easter, it says do send stars during our broadcast. It's actual stars, not emoji stars, guys.
Hy's 'n groot magtuin.
As 'n duiwelse matstryd van die hel af. Guys, please do send us real stars. However, if you do want to support Radio Easter and show some love, you can visit our website. There you can pledge for as little as R5. And then we'll be back next week, same time, same place. Just want to look at some of the comments on the Facebook page as well. Samantha Rick saying, thank you, Dr. Swartz. I really appreciate how honest and real you are. Bringing these issues across, our people need to hear the issues. Then Theo saying, here is a leader speaking to the nation. I don't know, is your guys' slogan forward, Ara, forward? I've seen a lot of forward.
Okay, I think that's something people just created it forward.
I love that. I love that. The people taking the things into their own hands. A lot of love coming through here. Someone saying, very informative. Thank you, Dr. Swartz, Stan Jacobs, and Kween. I don't think there are any more questions, but before we do end off, must say thank you so much to each and everybody for tuning in. And also, as we are 4 minutes over time, is there any closing words?
Doc? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, sometimes, it sounds like come hard across. But in South Africa right now, you need hardness. You don't need smiles. When somebody kills a family in Limpopo, a woman kills herself and her 4 children and leaves a letter saying, because of the poverty, that's why I'm killing myself. We don't have time we don't have time to smile. Yes. We don't have time to play with people and play with people's emotions. We don't have time for thieves to come back into South Africa and steal again for the next 5 years. So it might sound I'm coming cross about. Yes, I am angry at the problem right now, and we want to fix it. Yes, I am upset because we want to restore South Africa, and we don't have all the time in the world.
Doc, thank you so much. We don't have time. You are right. We're running out of time now and also in the future. So your vote is important. It's important for you. I just want to remind our viewers, the 15th of May, which is next week and Wednesday, we're having our very first debate live, similar to this one, but it will be in a church, right? So the pastor told me today, niks vloekery nie. So I have asked my constituencies not to swear, but we're going to have a conversation. And I want you guys to please let me know if you want to come. We want to invite you. You can email me at info@capeflatstories.co.za. I want you guys to ask questions. I think Doc will also be there. You will have interaction with him and some of the other politicians as well. I think we are only going to have to blame ourselves if things don't work out because we didn't vote right. 30 years, another 30 years, it is a long time, eh? We're going to lose more generations. So it's up to you guys to be part of this conversation and to share their lives. And also in your house, educate your children. Speak to those that is of age to go and vote. Force them. Why must they vote? Because the last time we voted, we thought we were liberated, but we were actually being incarcerated in a system that doesn't care about us. So I'm going to leave you there, and we're going to talk again. I'm going to give over to the Khoi Queen, and she can then say goodbye to you guys.
Yes, once again, thank you so much, Dr. Jerome, and everybody for tuning in and joining us. Peter Meyer, thank you so much for your comments there. Thank you so much for everybody, and all the best for the election going on forward. We're signing out with a song called Take You Med Yo, which is myself featuring the one and only Wow Big Lee. Do enjoy.
Radio East River, Radio East River, Radio East River, Radio East River.
Is solid nie met Roma. Sien jou heel aan, want sy is ook in my drome. Skryf nou die vers, kan sy hoor, dis my woorde.
So you take it time, yo. Didn't take it, hey, yo. So you take it time, yo. Didn't take it, hey, yo.
Sy maak dat ek myself wil verbeter. En sy sê rede vir my glimlach op 'n donker dag. In die donkerte skyn sy so helder. Poison girl, ek weet sy ken jou waarde. As ek rondkyk, sien ek sy's 'n target. Maar sy's my girl en sy is hier op die market. Die is just so sy weet dat die queen het power. Golden hour. Ek is net 'n Khoi man van die platteland en sy is die vrou wat ek sien in my future. Sy het my kom uithaal uit die donker dieptes. Kom ons maak geskiedenis, beautiful gebeurtenis. Toe ek jou gemiet het, ek het baie seer wat my lang gedefeat het. Ek het baie scars wat my lang gelaat bleed het. Toe ek jou ontmoet, toe besef ek dat
So you take it time, yo. Didn't take it, hey, yo. So you take it time, yo. Didn't take it, hey, yo.
Wow. My bro, wat maakt die man nou? Wow. My bro, wat maakt die man nou?
So you take it time, yo. Didn't take it, hey, yo. So you take it time, yo. Didn't take it, hey, yo. So you take it time, yo. Wow, it's
Radio Eerste Rivier, onze stasie, onze talent, Onze mense, WhatsApp ons by 064 536 9095. Talk to us, die ding ruk hier.
Radio East River, Radio East Rivier, Radio East River, Radio East River.
East Rivier.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
Ya, molweni emakhaya, singu Radio East River, sifumaneka kuzo zonke social media platforms.